So I'm going to move myself over here. And what I'd like, oh, and I also, if we have time, we'll come up and do Prasarita Padottanasana tonight too, standing straddle. So I have my folded chair waiting for me, but you will use your yoga blocks or other props or something to support too. So just gather up everything that we might use throughout our practice. So for our opening pose, Supta Baddha Konasana, there's lots of variations of this pose and it gets a lot more complicated. If you want to take yourself into a position where you have a bolster on 2 blocks and straps and sandbags and you have that available to you, you're more than welcome to use them. If we don't have all those things, all we really need, which would be helpful, is a bigger pillow to go towards the front of our mat where our legs will be, and then a folded blanket or a towel. So I have just, again, this throw blanket, a little quilt, and I folded it so it starts in a longer rectangular shape. I'm going to fold that rectangle in half. So I got a little smaller rectangle. And then I'm going to fold that rectangle lengthwise. So I end up with a little bit of a lift that looks like this long rectangle. I'll take the short end with the folds facing in towards the center of my mat, and then even going off the back of the mat. And now this folded blanket will support our low back, upper back, and the head. When we come onto the ground, we'll actually be sitting on our mat or on the floor. You might want to leave a little bit of space, maybe 1 fist distance between the short end of that blanket and your low back. Some people do like to slide it right snug up into the low back. Just kind of feels what's best for you. You'll line it up here so that the length of your spine as we come down. I'm going to use my hands and my elbows. And I'm going to start with my knees bent up so I can lift my hips just a hair and kind of lengthen out that low back so my tailbone is grounding down. And then I'll release the rest of my spine on this blanket. So my shoulders might fall towards the edges of the blanket slightly. If the head is falling back too much, add an additional towel, pillow, or if you have enough length of your blanket, tuck that under, support more of the head. We'll cactus our arms, so we'll drop our elbows out from the shoulders, elbows are bent, and then we'll allow the backs of the hands to flop towards the ground. And this is a nice stretch for the front of the chest and shoulders. It counters our sitting and rounding that we do. Now you are more than welcome to keep those knees bent up and falling together to help take pressure out of that low back. For the hip opener, Baddha Konasana, sliding the pillow right up to the sit bones, bringing the soles of the feet to touch, feeling that connection and the knees fall open. And always an option to simply stretch your legs out into Shavasana as well, with or without the support of the pillow. So I'll give us all a moment here to organize ourselves. Once we get into position, remember to loosen things up. Adjust those ponytails so they're not twisting our head. If we've been doing a lot of sitting lately and rounding forward through the spine, this is going to be a really nice stretch here. Some of us might notice that one or both hands do not easily touch the ground. That's totally normal, usually due to just tightness through those muscles. So we'll either allow gravity to traction them out over several breaths, or just rearrange your hands and arms until you're comfortable. Once we're in position, let's close our eyes this evening so that we can redirect our attention and awareness inward, allowing ourselves to become more centered and more focused on our body, our breath. Once we've made all of our adjustments, let's try to find some stillness here. So just press the pause button from our day. Let the weight of the body start to sink towards the ground as we do focus on this area that helps us feel grounded, safe, and secure. And we want to cultivate all those qualities throughout our practice regardless. Always feeling like we're in a safe place for our body, that we feel secure with how we're moving and practicing our yoga. So let's start to feel that physical body this evening, taking a mental scan from the top of the head all the way down to fingertips and toes. As we're scanning our body, we're consciously letting go of any unnecessary tension and tightness we might find. Relax all the muscles. Let the bones hang heavy in the body as we loosen up our joints. Pay special attention to all the little muscles across the face, around our eyes. Poof the cheeks with air, releasing the mouth, the tongue, and jaw. Weight of the shoulders, elbows, and hands sinks towards the ground. We feel this nice support underneath the back as our chest and heart opens. Soften the muscles of the belly and the abdomen, and notice a very subtle rise and fall of the belly with the breath. And then we'll let go of any tension or tightness we might find around those larger muscles, through that low back, around the hips, down the thighs, all the way down those legs, through the knees. If your feet happen to be touching, notice that connection of the feet to each other. As usual, if we notice things in our body that we might be taking care of this evening, let's honor those areas. Let them relax. Remembering that we'll practice with ahimsa or nonviolence and the quality of santosha and contentment. Being content wherever we are this evening on our mats. We'll continue to let the whole body relax here as we start to spread awareness now to the breath. Begin by observing the natural flow and rhythm of the breath, in and out through the nose. Our breath is as smooth and even as possible, balancing our exhale to our inhale. Starting to notice the movement of the body with the breath. As we breathe in fresh air, prana, and energy, our body naturally expands. So the belly might rise, feel a stretch through the rib cage, front to back, side to side. On our exhales, the body naturally contracts. So we'll feel the rib cage come closer together and the belly drops back down into the body. So we'll do a little bit of our bandha work as we've been doing in our classes. Remember, if this causes any discomfort, just let it go. And it takes some time to wake these muscles up and create this specific awareness in these different areas of the body. So if it feels challenging or a little frustrating, that's totally normal, but just be patient with your breath and your body. You'll follow your own rhythm. On our next inhale, really relax the abdomen, the muscles of the pelvic floor, let it expand, fill yourself up. The exhale is where we do a little bit more work. So when we get to our exhale, you will contract the abdominal muscles, especially a couple inches below the navel, pulling them in and up. You'll also try to tighten the pelvic floor muscles of the perineum, giving them a squeeze and a lift up into the body. And then on the inhale, we relax the pelvic floor and the abdomen so it expands. Exhale, start with that lower belly below the navel center. Try to contract those muscles, pulling them in and then a little lift up. Simultaneously start to contract those pelvic floor muscles again, like you're trying to stop the flow of urine, lifting in and up. The inhale, we get to relax everything. Let the muscles relax, let the abdomen expand. So we'll go for a couple more rounds here. As you start to tone and control these muscles a little bit more, you can lengthen this out so you can really try to exhale a little bit more air out, give it a little bit more squeeze. And then when we inhale and relax, maybe try to sip a little bit more air in Really letting everything expand and filling ourselves up completely. Let's all try to cycle through one more complete round of breath, allowing this breath to be our biggest breath of our day yet. So again, on that next inhale, pelvic floor softens, belly rises. We're inhaling, filling, 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 expanding all the way up to the brim. And our next exhale will be our biggest exhale, contracting, squeezing, drawing lower abdominal muscles in and up, tightening up that pelvic floor, pulling it in and up. And really try to empty, empty, empty every last drop. Clean everything out. Let it all go. And then on the next inhale, just relax. Let everything go. Let go of trying to control and follow the breath for a moment. Let go of trying to control those lower locks for a moment. Start to notice and feel the physical body again. The contact points with the body and the floor and the props. Very gently start to wiggle the toes and the fingertips, letting our body know we're going to start to move a little rock of the head side to side. Now we can stay on the props here for a moment and take our long body stretch. Depending on how high your back is lifted, you'll have to be mindful with the arms. So if your knees are open in Baddha Konasana, pull your knees up. We'll all try to stretch our legs straight forward down the middle of our mat. And then from our cactus arms, just stretch your arms overhead as far as you can. Flex those feet, spread those toes. Maybe the heels even pop up off the ground if you are on a prop. Spread your fingers. Purposely stretch your right side a little bit longer. Stretch that left side a little bit longer. And then one more big breath in to just stretch the body as wide and long as you can. Our exhale, walk your feet in. Use your core to pull the knees up towards the body. Leave your right arm beside the head and we'll roll over to our right just for a moment. If you need to pause, any low blood pressure, that type of thing, you can pause a little longer. Press down to the ground. We'll slide our props out and we will come back right down onto our back. But we'll try to lie flat to the floor if possible. You're welcome to have a little bit of support behind the head if needed. And we'll go right back down onto the ground. We'll start doing some of these more fluid movements just to loosen up the joints and the muscles. So bring your shoulder blades under, align the head with the spine, lengthen out the low back, re-extend the legs together down the middle of the yoga mat. Bring your arms down beside the body, palms down. Flowing with our breath through water pump pose. On the inhale, reach your arms up to the ceiling. We're going to draw them all the way back overhead. Flex your feet so the toes are pulling towards the shin bones. You'll notice that your low back might gently arch. The exhale actively pumps the arms back up and down beside the body. Point your toes forward, stretching out the tops of the feet, and pull the belly in. Inhale, pull toes to shins, arms overhead. Let that low back just naturally arch. Exhale, point the toes, push your arms down towards the ground, pull the belly in. A little abdominal crunch floats the head up and we look towards those toes. And then inhale, flex feet, extend arms, the head relaxes down, low back naturally arches. Feel your rib cage stretch. Exhale, point the toes, pump the arms, push your arms down. Pull that low belly in, the head might float up. 2 more following that breath. Water pump pose improves our circulation. It also improves our coordination as our brain learns how to move everything from the tips of our toes to the tips of our fingertips. Now the next time we inhale, that's where we'll meet. So let's catch up next time your arms are overhead. Moving now into Baddha Konasana, the flowing version. So exhale, pull that low belly in. Continue to pump your arms down. Pull your right knee in towards the body. The feet may be flexed or pointed. Your head can continue to lift. The inhale re-extends everything out and down. Exhale, use the core, pull the left knee in, so we're alternating side to side. If you're floating the head, you're drawing that knee towards your nose. The inhale with control lengthens us. Now keep going, really mindful movement here. Working side to side, right to left. Wind relieving pose massages our digestive system, so improves the health of our colon and intestines. It also massages the internal organs side to side and warms these muscles around the shoulders and the hips. Let's take it one more time to our right side. One more time to our left side. After you finish your left side, we'll meet on the inhale, stretching everything out. Next exhale pulls the right knee in, but this is the more passive version, so keep your head down. Wrap your hands around your shin bone, interweave all 10 fingers. Taking care of your knee, simply hold behind the thigh instead. Breathe into the belly as you inhale. And on the exhale, gently draw right knee towards the right armpit. So it is moving off to the side just an inch or two. Your low back should stay grounded. The shoulders are down, the elbows are down. Your hands are doing the work. Feet can be pointed or flexed or even just kind of soft. We'll feel a little pinching around that right hip. Take one more big belly breath. So on the inhale, if you want, back off a little bit, inflate the belly. And on the exhale, nice pull again to massage our ascending colon, big stretch for the hip. On the inhale, release the leg. Slide your right foot all the way out. Reach your arms overhead so the blood can rush all the way back out to fingertips and toes. Exhale, pull your left knee all the way in. Interweave the fingers on the shin bone, opposite pinky in front or behind the knee. The inhale, you try to take a belly breath so the belly inflates. And then the exhale, use the strength of my hands to draw the left knee to the left armpit. So off to the side just a little bit. The inhales can back off a little bit. Exhale, compress. Notice what position your feet are in. Keep your shoulders, elbows, and low back flat to the floor. One more big breath. Use that exhale, get into that deep stretch and compression for the left side. The inhale releases the leg, slides all the way out. Arms reach overhead, stretch it all out. Exhale, float those arms down. Let's walk our feet in. We'll do just a couple more flowing movements before we transition. So now our heels are in alignment with the sit bones. You might be able to reach down and tickle the backs of your heels. Feet are parallel to each other. Those of you that have a yoga block, feel free to place it between your inner thighs to help with your alignment. If we don't have a yoga block, that's okay too. Just don't let your knees fall open and out to the sides. Keep them in line with your toes. So we're gonna move through flowing bridge pose here. Strengthening the back to stretch the front. So give the buttocks a nice squeeze, tighten up the muscles of the back. As you inhale, press through the arms and the soles of the feet and float your hips up towards the ceiling. Again, countering all the sitting we do, we're stretching the hip flexors. The exhale is gonna lower you back down to the ground. Follow your rhythm. The lifting and the lowering should be about at the same pace if we're breathing evenly and equally. Weight moves into the shoulders, not the neck. The neck is naturally curved away from the ground. As you start to strengthen your backside and the front opens, you might be able to go to a little higher up. Don't force anything, but the higher you go, it turns into a gentle inversion. The chest lifts a little higher than the head. And the chest may move towards that chin, but we don't want to try to tuck the chin towards the chest. Next variation is to add those arms and to massage that upper back and the shoulders. So the next time you inhale, lift the hips. Those arms can one more time re-extend overhead. And the exhale floats the hips and the arms back down beside the body. Two more, whatever variation we're choosing. We'll meet on our exhale. So that next exhale, when our back goes down and our hands come down, we'll hug our knees in, gently just rock side to side across that low back. Bring the right arm beside the head. We'll roll onto our right side and pause for a moment in our sleeping baby so that our blood pressure can regulate here. Take the top hand to the ground, turn the heart towards the ground. Stretch that top leg to the front of the mat to press the body up, and we'll come to our seat. So we will take our seated position to do our 3 movements of our spine we should do every day. So do sit up on a little prop, especially if you have tightness around those hips and low backs. Sukhasana, our easy cross pose, crossing at the ankles. Or if you want to continue with this awareness up through those pelvic floor muscles, Siddhasana or a depth pose. So you slide one heel right up into the pelvic floor or close to it. If you're up higher, you won't quite make that physical connection. And then the opposite heel is placed in front of that. And then we find those sit bones, so we move any flesh out of the way and try to sit up nice and tall. Do have a little bit of engagement here in that lower belly to prop up the spine. Reach those arms out from the shoulders, palms turn up. On our inhale, we reach back up, big stretch. Turn the palms out, exhale, fingertips down. Our flowing seated triangle tonight. Inhale, right arm up. Keep that right sit bone rooted. You're sliding along an invisible wall as you lean to the left. You should feel your waist and ribs pull away from the hips. This is a nice way to stretch those muscles as well. Our inhale lifts us up. You'll switch arms, root that left sit bone, lean to your right, and stretch out the whole left side, really up through the waist. Inhaling. We'll take it one more to each side. The drishti might look down, forward, or up, depending how that feels for the neck. We'll finish leaning over to our right. We'll meet on the inhale, both arms reaching up to the ceiling. Bring the palms to touch. Exhale, hands to heart. Let's switch up the cross of our legs. If we are sitting cross-legged, we want to try to place the other foot in front. Find your sit bones again. So let's take our flowing twist now. Inhale, re-extend the arms wide and overhead. Keep this length. You're rotating along the axis of the spine. The exhale, we rotate to the right. Front hand may reach to opposite knee, back fingertips towards the floor. Continue to twist through the shoulders, the neck, the head, and the eyes. Open your eyes as wide as you can and peek behind you. Inhale, pull everything back up to center. Exhale, rotate, rotate, rotate to the left. Fingertips may drop down. Continue to twist through the shoulders, the neck, the head. Stretch your eyes out, peek behind you. One more time to each side. Follow your breath. Inhaling, creating that length, and exhaling, gently try to wringing out tension up the back. Inhale it up. Good. And one more time to our left. We'll meet on our inhale, reaching back up to the ceiling, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart. Take a hold of those knees, float your knees up. Let's stretch our feet forward and just do a little point and flex here. Stretch out those legs from our seated position. Try to do that little curling through your toes and spreading of the toes. Take your hands or your fists and simultaneously just give your legs a little massage up and down. Get some blood flow coming up to the surface of our legs here. And then we'll take our transition all the way around to tabletop. So however you want to get there, you can walk, your feet to one side. We'll get situated in our space. Stacking our joints. Hands are as wide as our shoulders. Spread those fingers. Press into the earth. So we're feeling this connection, this grounding, and building our strength up from the ground up. Knees under hips. A little bit of space between the feet and the knees. Be mindful of where that head is in space. On the inhale, let's relax our belly here. Coming into our cow pose, lift the tail all the way from the crown of the head up. On the exhale, scoop that tail under, draw the belly in, rounding the back, drishti to the belly button. Again, follow your breath. Inhaling into extension and gentle back bending. Exhale, scooping, tucking, and rounding into flexion. If one of those feels really yummy for the back or the shoulders tonight, you're always welcome to hold it a little longer. Do little lateral movements side to side. Maybe focus a little bit more around the shoulders or those hips. Let's balance ourselves out and come back to a nice neutral spine. Do pull that low belly in to help keep the spine nice and level. Keep the hips level. Right foot stretches back, single leg stretch. Pressing that heel towards the ground to intensify the stretch of the back of that leg. Through the back of the ankle, the calf, the hamstring. Foot is to the floor, just single leg stretch. Breathe it in. Exhale, bring the knee down. Hips stay level. Left foot stretches back. You're straightening the left leg out. Follow the foot to the floor. Shifting your weight back through that heel as much as you want. Seeing that we're keeping equal weight in both hands. Be mindful of the head. Breathe it in. And then exhale, we'll bring that left knee down. Let's sit back into our first child's pose to give our hands a break and to stretch our hips and low back even more. Wide V child's pose gives yourself more space for the belly and the heart. Big toes touch, knees are nice and wide. Sinking hips to heels, melting the belly, the heart, and the head to the ground. If you want to continue to stretch through that shoulder girdle, open your hands wider than your shoulders, extend the fingertips forward. Elbows are floating from the floor as you pull your sit bones back. Head is grounded. If it's not touching, stack your hands, 2 fists or a prop under the forehead. Too much compression for your knees, slide your pillow or blanket behind you to sit on, or keep your hips elevated and rest on your forearms instead so that we're not compressing the knees. And take a couple nice deep breaths here and feel the stretch all the way across the lumbar spine, around the hips. Let the heart sink to the ground. One more breath in our pose. The next inhale will float the head and the body back up. We'll come back to tabletop. So you need to restack those knees under the hips. Bring your hands back underneath the shoulders. So we'll try a little bit of that Padangusthasana again tonight. This is going to be a challenge for our balance and also for the feet. I want you to bring your feet a little closer together. They don't need to be touching, but your knees are going to come together. And then we'll try to sit back on our heels in that broken toe pose. So this in and of itself is a really intense posture. We'll try to take it up into our balancing pose. If that's not going to happen tonight, you're also welcome just to hold broken toe pose from a kneeling position. And then you may move into your forward fold, however works best for you. Those of us that want to practice toe stand or Padangusthasana, if you have props, place them beside your thighs for help or use your fingertips. The toes are still tucked under. I'm now floating my knees from the floor. So I'm balancing on the balls of my feet. So you have options. You can stay in broken toe pose, sitting back on the heels. You can be in a kneeling position. Those of us trying to float up in a Padangusthasana, squeeze your knees together, pull the low belly in. The first stage is to place your palms on your thighs. Good. The next stage, this is a challenging pose, is to bring hands to heart. Woo, I can't hold it tonight. The next stage is to extend arms straight forward, parallel to the floor. So you may go to your forward fold from, if you don't want to try to slide up, those of us that want to try to slide up through toe stand, really engage the core. We are trying to lean back. It's a little challenging. You try to lift all the way up. Oh, tired legs today. Good try. A for effort. We lift all the way up. Reach up to the ceiling. The heels come up. And then on our exhale, you'll drop the heels, step your feet back, hips width apart, micro bend your knees and hinge from the hips, and we'll all catch up back in our forward fold. So this is where we'll meet again, Uttanasana. So give those legs a little stretch, stretching out one leg at a time. Release the head, the neck, and shoulders, or use your modification, elbows on thighs, if that's better for your low back. Next, inhale, take your halfway lift, hands to shins or higher. Squeeze that upper back. We're going to do our little funky move. So you'll bend your knees, bring your fingertips and hands to the ground, and try to walk forward to the front of your yoga mat. Now, I happen to be at the back of my mat. I guess I didn't cue that, but hopefully you were at the back of your mat from tabletop. And we'll walk our hands forward and do our first downward facing dog. So spread those fingers, root down into the mound of the index finger and thumb. Again, pedal your heels, one heel at a time. The opposite foot is also getting a toe stretch. So the knee that's bending, you're getting into the crease of those toes as you sink the opposite heel to the ground. Try to sink both heels towards the floor. Bend your knees deeply if you take care of your low back. Roll those shoulders away from the ears. Do round the belly in, and let's pause for a breath. Next inhale is going to float us forward into plank position. Adjust your stance. You might need to slide your feet back a little bit. Pull that low belly in. Kneeling plank or forearm plank are all total acceptable positions. This will get everything woken up if it wasn't already woken up today. Compact those hips, head in line with the spine. Smile, feel nice and strong. Again, stability, security. Building that strength from the ground up. Just one more breath. Give me a big breath in. Good job. Big breath out. Inhale, float those hips up. Exhale, down dog. Let that weight move back down to the heels. Take a breath. And again, we'll try to go backwards. So bend the knees and try to walk your hands backwards towards your feet. Back into our forward fold. Straighten out the legs, one leg at a time. Pull that low belly in. Lower bandhas can be working. Squeezing the pelvic floor and that lower abdomen. Next inhale, we'll take our halfway lift again. Lift the chest, squeeze your upper back. Strong core. Hold and breathe. Add your locust arms if you want a little bit more. Arms are parallel to each other, palms facing in. Pick up those toes, strong legs. Next inhale, we'll sit back into Utkatasana. So inhale, float those arms forward and up. Starting from our foundation, feet are parallel to each other, knees are pointing towards those toes. Shrug the shoulders away from the ears. If we have tightness in the neck and the shoulders, bring the hands to the heart center instead and take the arms out of the equation. So talking to stability, we will do a little bit of our balance work as usual. First one is just hovering the right foot from the floor. Seeing what our balance feels like here, standing on one leg. Focus your drishti, so your eyes are on one spot, breath is flowing nice and even. Next exhale brings the foot down. Squeeze and lift the left foot from the floor. See what happens. Just a little hover here. Breathe it in. Exhale, bring the foot down. Sink a little lower down, driving your sit bones back and down. And then this next inhale will rise all the way up into extended mountain. So straighten the legs. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling. If they're in prayer, you can sweep them back overhead. Lift the heels up. Stretching out those feet, strengthening the ankles and the feet. Keep breathing. On the exhale, bring your palms together. We'll all lower our hands to our heart and drop the heels back to the ground. Reach the arms out from beside you, Tadasana, and just pause for a moment. Make sure that we're breathing, we don't feel lightheaded or dizzy or any of those things. Unlock those knees, root through the four corners of the feet. So mound of the big toe inner heel, mound of the pinky toe outer heel. Picking up those toes can help activate those arches. Thighs are strong, pelvic floor can be lifting in, lower abdominals pulling in. Arms are strong, no tension whatsoever in the face or the neck. Take a nice deep breath in, and then exhale, let it go. So let's get into Prasarita Padottanasana, a couple more balancing, and then we'll get back down to the ground and do some deeper work. So I'm actually gonna take my chair now and place it in front of me. And you'll need to situate yourself on your yoga mats. We'll open up into our wide neutral stance. So you'll wanna be in a position where your feet aren't gonna slide out. So if you need to turn sideways on your mat, go ahead and do so. If you have yoga blocks or other props, you'll place them in front of you, about shoulder width apart. So that you'll have that support waiting for you. I'm turning sideways just so you have a little bit of a visual if you want it. If you are using a chair, just make sure your chair is not on a slippery surface. So we'll open out into neutral position. So we'll start with our feet actually parallel to each other and the arms extended right from the shoulders. And then we want to try to open those feet fairly wide, almost so that the ankles are underneath the wrists. And we don't want to be rolling to the in or outside of the feet. Four corners rooted, strong thighs, low bellies pulled in. This is our inhale. On the exhale, take a hold of your hips and turn your toes in slightly. So heels turn out, toes are turned in. Internal rotation for our thigh bones helps bring our pelvis into an anterior tilt. Don't hyperextend the low back, stay connected front body to back body. On the inhale, do lead with the chest as you open it. And on the exhale, we pour our pelvis forward. So we are trying to hinge from the hips, spine stays nice and long. And we'll come about halfway and check in. Make sure you're pulling your quads up, even if you have to micro bend your knees slightly. Because we're trying to stretch the backs and the insides of the legs. The inhale, we create that space. And then on the exhales, as those muscles start to stretch, we might go a little bit deeper. So placing your hands to the seat of your chair. If you are able to drop your fingertips down towards your props of the floor, that's fine. Do not shift all your weight into the hands and try not to round the spine. You want to continue to pour the pelvic bowl forward. Pull that low belly in. If we happen to be coming further down towards the ground, option to walk your hands back in between the feet so that the fingertips and toes are in one straight line. The elbows start to bend straight back like the legs of the bird. Drishti can stay underneath the tip of the nose, pulling the blood at the base of the skull. If you're more folded in half, you may drop the weight of the head so that you're more in an inversion. And we will hold for several breaths here, allowing all those muscles running up the back and inside of the legs get in a nice deep stretch. Continue to make sure you're rooting equally through both feet and weighting the feet evenly. Continue to pull the shoulders away from the ears. Just don't let the weight of the shoulders sag towards your ears. So use your upper back muscles as well. One more breath. So our next inhale, especially those of us that are further into it, halfway lift. Walk the fingertips forward, bring it back onto your props. Lift the chest up. Must re-engage through the legs and the core. On the exhale, even if you bend your knees slightly, bring one hand at a time back to your hips. Strong legs, strong core. Inhale, lift up to the crown of the head. And we were in inversion, so just remember if you do get lightheaded, sit down. Try to inhale even more air as you reach your arms up to the side and overhead. Big breath in. Bring your palms to touch. Exhale, lower the hands down to the heart. From here, turn your heels in. Keep your toes turned out. So now the heels are angled in, toes are turned out slightly. Inhale, reach your arms up into our star pose. This is another nice grounding pose. On the exhale, Bend your knees to your toes and drop your elbows down. Kalyasana. Pull the low belly in. So don't let your knees fall inward. Really ground. Nice strong legs and the soles of the feet. On our inhale, we'll re-extend back up into our star position. Exhale, slide down an invisible wall. So this pose does strengthen and tone the legs and the feet. Inhaling up. Exhale, slide back down. This one will hold, but keep breathing. We can take chin mudra in the hands, index finger to thumb. A little bit of balance work here. Try to lift one heel up. Try the other heel. Alternate or float both heels up. Strengthening the feet, the ankles, lower half of the body. Sink the tailbone to the ground. Keep breathing. And then on our next inhale, drop the heels. Reach your arms softly all the way overhead. Flowing version. The exhale, bends the knees out and the arms just softly float in front. Inhaling overhead. And then exhale. So this just loosens everything back up, gets the blood flowing. One more. We'll meet on our inhale, reach those arms up. Bring the palms to touch. Exhale, hands to heart. Heel toe, step, step, step it back together. So let's clear our space. If you do have anything on your mat, you can move that out of the way again. We'll come towards the back of our mat again. We're going to revisit Padangusthasana and try to slide down. If that doesn't work for you, you're welcome to just swan dive and hinge to forward fold, because that's where we'll catch up, okay? So again, when you start to move into toe stand, you want your feet a little closer together. They don't need to be touching, but the knees do come together. So we're a little knock-kneed here, and that gives stability and support for the knee joints. Hands in prayer position or float them straight forward, parallel to the floor. Pick the heels up. Root the tailbone, front body to back body. The exhale, squeeze the knees, and you try to lower down. Nice and easy. Padangusthasana, we'll try to hold our balance here for a moment. And then drop the fingertips towards the floor. Straighten the legs back up, where we'll meet back in Uttanasana. Open the feet a little wider so their back hips width apart. Release the head, the neck, the shoulders. Prance those legs. Give those legs a nice big stretch. Inhale, halfway lift. Float the heart. Again, little different movement. Bend the knees. Fingertips, hands to the floor. We'll try to walk back forward one more time into our plank pose. Breaking up our planks, doing just about 30 seconds. So we'll do one more plank. Choose your flavor. We're all doing this together. Float those hips right between the heels and the shoulders if you're lifted. If you're on the knee, you just need to tuck a little bit more strongly. Wait to the first knuckles of the fingers. Happily press the ground away from you. Wonderful way to strengthen and tone the core. Just one more breath. Breathe it in. Breathe it out. And then the inhale, we'll float those hips up. Exhale, lower the hips back and down. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Downward facing dog for a breath or two here. Next inhale, float the heels up. Stretch out those toes and the soles of the feet. Exhale, we'll drop the knees, point the toes. Keep the knees touching for more traditional balasana. Or take your wide bead, whatever variation works best. Bow the head, hands float back to the feet. We'll pause here, just dropping the weight of the arms down. Or again, if you're able to find your feet back there, feel free to give them a little massage. Kneading into the inner and outer arch, towards the ball of the foot and the heels. So much more flexibility at 6 o'clock at night versus first thing in the morning. It's amazing. Bring the hands under the shoulders, tuck the chin, and round up. And I only thought that because when we do our Sunday morning class, I can't even get my head to the floor in child's pose. I'm so tight. But now by the end of the day, we've been moving, so our body's been a little bit more loose. All right, so we're gonna try to take Vajrasan. We've been practicing this floating Vajrasan pose. Big stretch for those shins. This isn't for everybody, so if this doesn't feel good, I'll have you shift to your hips and you'll come back to seated bound angle pose, soles of the feet touching, lifting and hinging forward. Those of us that want to try another balanced version of this, in our thunderbolt pose, we're sitting back on the heels, so it's a big stretch. Fingertips to the floor, your props. Try to float the knees up, so it stretches out the whole tops of the feet as well. Hands come to heart center. You're more than welcome to be in bound angle pose while some of us try this. One more breath in. And on the exhale, drop the knees down, step the hands forward, just start tapping out the feet, and go ahead and give your legs a big stretch back one at a time so the blood can rush back through those knees. And then we'll drop over to either hip and bring our feet forward. So we did a couple of our regular planks, now we'll switch it up. So what we'll do is a reverse tabletop to start with the joints stacked, and then we'll go into Parsvottanasana, reverse full plank as an option. You can stay in your tabletop. Now this does put a little bit more pressure on the wrist, so we just need to be mindful of that. But it's definitely a different way to strengthen the whole back side of the body as, again, we stretch the front. So to start in reverse tabletop, you will bend your knees up towards the ceiling. The feet are hips width apart, so you have a little bit of space between your knees and your feet. Point your fingers behind you and line up the heels of the hands with the outsides of the hips. And then you plant the middle finger, the tip of the middle finger down. You pick up the palm, you spin it around, and then you drop back down. So the fingers are actually facing forward. You're leaning back a little bit, and your elbows are bending straight back. Fingers are still nice and wide. And then I'm going to walk my feet in a little bit more closer so I have some more leverage. You are working the back side of the body here, so you'll engage your glutes, that upper back between those shoulder blades. And on the inhale, I'm going to press down to lift up. Now, ideally, the feet are just about underneath the knees. Your hips are floating in line with the shoulders, and your head is floating in line with the spine. There's a tendency to just want to drop and let it hang back. Actually, try to hold it up in line with the spine. Press the ground away from you. Tighten the back side to open the front. And the hips are the heaviest part of our body, so we really got to squeeze and compact those hips. Take a big breath in. Exhale, release, lower it down. To give our wrists a break, all you do is flip over to the backs of the hands on the knuckles, gently drag them forward, and then take praying mantis. So you'll pinch your forefingers to your thumbs, pull those fingers in to stretch out the top of the wrist, and then you can just shake them out. Let's do it one more time. Gently drag the tops of the hands forward on the knuckles. Pinch fingers to thumb, all 5 fingers to the forearm, pull it up. Exhale, shake it out. So you may revisit reverse tabletop. If you want to try Parsvottanasana, you can join me in doing that. It's a really intense pose. And like I said, we are not in this position and any natural movements I can think of. And for some of us, it does cause a little cramping in the feet because it's a real strong, I believe it's dorsiflexion, pointing of the toes. So if you want to try full plank, you start from Dandasana. So your legs are straight and extended. Same thing, whether you're going to do reverse tabletop or reverse plank, point your fingers behind you and align the heels of the hands with the outer hips. Glue the top of the middle finger down, pick up the heels of the hands, spin them around. So now your fingertips are pointing forward and you're leaning back a little bit. My elbows are bending straight back. And my hands are as wide as my shoulders. I'm going to squeeze my upper back. I am still connected to my core. I'm going to point my feet forward, just doing that. That's pretty intense. I really got to tighten up through my hips and my buttock, and I'm going to press into the ground. And again, that's that really heavy part of the body. And I'm actually trying to get my toes to touch the ground. Squeeze and compact the hips. Squeeze your glutes. Press the ground away from you. Try to keep your head in line with the spine. Be kind to your knees. Breathe it in. Exhale. Whew, that's intense. Lower it down. Good job. Flip onto the backs of the hands and the knuckles. Gently drag the hands forward. Praying mantis. Pinch fingers to thumbs and pull the fingers to the forearms so you're rounding through the top of the wrist now. Exhale, shake it up. Sliding back, pulling forward. Pinch, pinch, pinch. And exhale, let it go. All right, good job. So since I'm running out of time, we're gonna transition to our back and do a couple more nice deep stretches for the legs. So this is where I'd like you to have your strap. And just find it and get it near you. Now, if you don't have the strap, you can take a long scarf or a bath towel. You take the bath towel into a long rectangular fold in half, and you roll it up as tight as you can so that you have a towel strap instead of a yoga strap, okay? Set those things nearby so we don't have to hunt them down later. Come towards the middle of the yoga mat, have space behind you. Choose either to walk yourself safely down onto your back, moving onto one side, or if you want to join me for our slow roll down, you'll plant the soles of the feet are touching, my knees are open wider than my hips. Round the belly in, tuck the tailbone under. Reach those fingertips forward, breathe it in, and on my exhale, I'm going to try to lower, rolling through the spine, low back, lumbar, mid back, shoulders, back of the head. Once we've come down to the ground, we'll re-extend those arms overhead, long body stretch, stretch out the legs, point and flex the feet. So we'll move through just a basic version of Supta Padangusthasana tonight to stretch out our hamstrings and our hips and get our twist in. Arms will come down beside us. We'll walk those feet in. Loosen up the clothing, adjust the hair, hug your knees in for a moment to get that low back to stretch out. And then drop the feet flat to the floor and take a hold of our straps. So we'll do our right side and we'll hold each variation just for a couple of breaths tonight. Taking a hold of the strap, bend the right knee in. The strap goes near the arch, the lower arch, so more towards the heel. Hold the strap in both hands so that the shoulders can stay grounded and the heart stays open. You're welcome to loop the strap around the hand so they have to do a little bit less work. Straighten that right leg up. Lengthen from the inner groin to that inner heel. Contract from the outer heel to the outer hip. Once the right leg is straight, you may draw it a little bit closer towards the body. And we'll slide our left heel forward to the front of our yoga mat, anchoring the left leg to the ground. Both feet are actively flexing. So first, we're just concentrating on the back of the right leg and the hamstring. Try not to tighten up the face or the jaw. Let the hands and the arms do the work. Now we'll take a hold of the strap in the right hand. We want to keep the left side grounded. So you really need to activate the abdominals and the muscles along the left-hand side so that the low back stays flat to the floor. And on the inhale, we'll open the right leg to the right. Bend that right elbow and drop the elbow to the ground so that can serve as an anchor. We're also trying to get that thigh bone up so it moves out about 45 degrees. And the left hand is on top of that left hip to keep it grounded as a reminder. We'll feel this through that inner thigh growing muscle again. Left leg is strong and anchored. Option to reach your left arm out from your shoulder and turn the head to the left to counter twist the neck. The right hand is doing all the work. Let gravity assist you in stretching and opening here. Breathe it in. Breathe it out. Now the inhale will float the head, help that leg back up to center. We'll get into our IT band in the outer hip. So the right leg stays straight. Take a hold of the strap in the left hand and then angle your right leg across the midline a few degrees. Continue to pull your right hip down. Shoulders to the ground, back is flat. Start to feel some tenderness and tightness in the outer hip. Massage or gently punch into those muscles. Move that foot around in space, trying to find that sweet spot. Taking it into our twist, bend the left elbow. Left elbow touches the ground. The leg probably will not, but you'll allow your right hip to peel up. Sink your right shoulder back down. Reach the right arm out from the shoulder. Head turns to the right and breathe. Using the exhale to exhale away any tension or tightness. Left hand is doing the work. One more breath. Inhale, head and leg comes up, help it back up. Open the strap up, slide the left foot in and up. Waterfall pose, pause for a moment so that we can neutralize and realign. And get our beneficial inversion here that also improves our circulation, that creates a sense of calmness in the body. So other side, bring the right foot to the floor. Strap comes near the lower arch of the left foot towards the heel. That foot can be flexing, pressing up into the strap. Hold the strap in both hands so the heart stays open. Open up the eye of the knee. Lengthen from the inner groin all the way down to that inner heel. Contract from the outer heel to the outer hip. Once that leg is straight, you might draw it a little closer towards the body and slide the right heel forward. Anchor the right leg to the ground. Back is flat to the floor. Hamstring stretching. One more breath. Take a hold of the strap in the left hand. Right hand to hip. Keep your right side active, engaged, and grounded to the floor. Left elbow bends. Try to lift that thigh bone up and then bring it out. So you might need to bend the knee at first. Use your kickstand. Keep tension on the belt. Ideally, that left leg is up higher than the hip. Right arm reaches out from the shoulder. Head turns to the right. Left hand is doing all the work. One more breath. Inhale, head and leg up. Switch hands, right hand holds on, keep your left hip down. Leg is straight, angling over the midline a few degrees, trying to get into this outer band of fascia and tissue. Move the leg around a little bit so you can get to that spot where you feel some of that. Massage, punch into it. Moving into the twist, bend the right elbow, elbow to the floor. Keep tension on the belt. Left hip comes up, left shoulder stays grounded, head turns to the left. Let the right hand keep tension on the belt, close the eyes. Exhale away, tension and tightness, let it go. One more breath. Inhale, breathing, floats the head and the leg back up. Open the strap up, right foot floats in and up, waterfall pose, Vipariti Karani. Stacking the joints of the legs and taking the pressure off the lower half of our body here. That's normally our foundation throughout our day. Relax the feet and the legs and the knees. Let the back just ground towards the earth. Breathe it in. Next exhale, we'll bend our knees. We'll let go of that strap. Wiggle your fingers here for a moment. Now cross one ankle on top of the other. Doesn't matter which. Dead bug pose. We'll keep our arms straight up towards the ceiling, but you flop your hands forward and you dangle your fingertips forward. So this also is a gentle counter for our planks and that wrist compression. It also helps reverse that blood flow that normally drains down into the fingertips because our hands are normally hanging down away from the shoulders. Let the weight of the legs relax. Just enjoy this pose for a breath. Cross opposite ankle on top and take a couple more breaths. Uncross those ankles, stretch the legs back up to the ceiling, hold behind the thighs, point and flex the feet. Inhale, breathing, legs open nice and wide, Supta Konasana. Support the weight of the legs from the outside, roll your ankles. Or move your hands to the inside to deepen the stretch, massage those muscles. Let gravity stretch them out. The more you press your heels out and try to open up the eyes of the knees, the more that will intensify the pose. Relax the face and the throat and the shoulders. Big breath in. Exhale, squeezes the legs back up to waterfall. Bend those knees. Try wrapping your arms as far as you can across the shin bones. Head floats up. Take a hold of opposite elbows or wrists. Stretch out the whole back. And we'll give ourselves and our bodies a nice big loving hug here. Breathe it in. And our exhale, we get to let it go and relax. So if you are comfortable on the ground and you like this connection of the whole body, making contact with the floor below, you're welcome to stay here and take final relaxation with the arm bones rolling out, palms up, knees bent in together for low backs, soles of the feet touch, knees open for hips. Or stretch your legs out so that the legs can completely relax in Shavasana. You're also more than welcome to roll to one side, gather up your folded blankets and your pillows and your eye coverings, and we can finish right where we started today too in Supta Baddha Konasana. So I'll give us all a moment to figure out where we want to be and what feels best for our bodies tonight. I'll guide us through a little bit of our verbal relaxation. Give us several moments of peace and quiet. And then bring us out with a singing bowl tonight. Find the very back center of the skull. Allow the weight of the head to drop into the ground. Let the brain drop to the back of the skull. Smooth the skin of the forehead, the brow, and the eyebrow center. Eyes sink into the sockets. Poof the cheeks with air. Release the mouth, the tongue, the lower jaw to gravity. Feel the whole weight of the body sink towards the earth, into the earth. Feel all the bones in the body get heavy. Let the bones sink into the earth. The arm bones, all the little bones in the hands and the fingertips. All the bones that make up the torso, the spine. Relax the heavy bones of the pelvis, the pelvic bowl. And then the bones of the legs, the thigh bones around the knees, the bones in the lower legs, the ankles, the feet, all the little bones in the feet and the toes. Relax the spaces between the toes. Soften all the wrinkles and creases on the soles of the feet. Relax the whole body. Our breath is easy, quiet, and calm. The seed mantra associated with Muladhara Chakra is the mantra LAM, L-A-M, LAM. Other mantras associated with this area are I am grounded, I am safe, I am secure, so if the mind wanders or becomes distracted, we just gently bring it back to the peaceful breath, or we can mentally repeat one of those mantras over and over again as we give ourselves just one more moment of today to let go, to relax, and simply be and breathe. So before we move our bodies this evening, just notice the weight of the body, the peacefulness that we've cultivated in our mind and body, all the contact points with the body and the floor and props below. And then just for a moment, if you want to take our clenching thumb mudra, simply wrap your 4 fingers around the thumb as you draw the thumb across the center of the palm. This is survival mudra, and it can create, again, this feeling and sense of being safe and secure and grounded. And then we'll start to wiggle and wake up the toes, undo our fist mudra and wiggle the fingertips. Breathe a little bit more life into the body as we rock the head side to side and roll our ankles and our wrists. Depending on what position we're in, revisiting long body pose, extending the legs down the middle of the mat, re-extending the arms overhead so that we can stretch everything out, spreading the fingers and the toes, creating length and space, left to right, right to left, front to back. Take a big breath in, stretch everything out. Exhale, we'll float those arms down and walk the feet in. And then we'll draw those knees back into the body to rock across the back. Right arm falls beside the head and rolling over, pausing in sleeping baby pose for a moment, cradling the head on the arm. Keeping the eyes closed or soft, press into the ground, bringing the body back up, where we will revisit any comfortable seated pose and take just a couple more breaths together tonight. Sit up on those hip bones, nice and tall to the crown of the head. Re-extend those arms out beside the body, palms up. Inhale, breathing, float those arms up to the ceiling, and let's gather up everything we need for the rest of our evening. Turn the palms out, float the fingertips all the way back down to the floor, letting go of all that other junk we don't need for the rest of our evening. One more big breath together. Inhale, arms up. Palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart. Humbly bow the head to the heart to honor and thank ourselves, our bodies, each other, and remembering to be grateful to anyone else that made it possible for us all to connect this evening and practice our yoga together. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Peace, peace, peace.